Good Star Wars is back, baby. Ahsoka has premiered. We just saw the 2-episode debut, and that's right. Good Star Wars is back. This one was amazing. Honestly, I never thought that I'd see a live action continuation of Rebels and a bit of Clone Wars. This is so Star Wars and Disney in general has had a little bit of a misfires lately. Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, a little too jokey, a little too kids on top of each other. In disguise, walking out. Mandalorian season 3, a bit of a disappointment, kind of not knowing what direction they're going in. And the sequel trilogy in general at Disney fucking it up. Fucking Kathleen Kennedy having no idea, no master plan kind of thing, and it just being a disaster. But I think Ahsoka has put the brakes on a little bit. Dave Filoni is writing and directing here in this first episode. Second episode, Dave Filoni written, but he handed off to Steph Green for directing. And this is a live-action animated Rebels and Clone Wars, kind of continued. And it's, in my opinion, somewhere in between Andor and... it's another good one. The good Mandalorian stuff. So in between, kind of there, and it starts pretty strong. We get the appearance of some new characters. These, as I'm wearing here, these sort of dark Jedi. They don't seem to be Sith. They don't seem to be Inquisitors. I mean, the time period is the Empire is lost. And so they are technically mercenaries, and judging by their lightsabers, which seem to be like an orange, they're definitely like a dark Jedi. The closest thing we've seen to live-action dark Jedi. And I'm intrigued. The master is named Balin, and the apprentice looks like Scarlett Johansson. Looks like
it's exactly what I was thinking
like
too.
her.
Like a younger,
her name is Shin, I think.
Yeah,
and
Shin Hati.
Shin Hati, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
And they're fascinating. I'm curious. What's their story? Where do they come from? What are they after? They're kind of a wild card. And we also have the Night Sister, who Ahsoka has had previous experience with. Remember, she jailed her in the previous series when, I think that was Boba Fett, or was it Mandalorian, where Ahsoka showed up and imprisoned. She was looking for Thrawn, and this lady, this Night Sister, is kind of an ally of Thrawn, knows where he's at, is doing a plot to bring him back into the universe. And basically, and this is how it ties into the continuation of Rebels and a little bit of the Clone Wars. And this is that. This is sort of Dave Filoni's next phase of Star Wars being set up right now, where we've been alluding to a new war coming. If you know anything about the novels, one of the best expanded novels and comic series is with Thrawn, when he has this Imperial remnant, and they start a little bit of a new war, and this is a smarter Imperial instead of all these incompetent Imperials that we've seen recently. And I think Dave Filoni is building to that. There has been talk of a movie coming and stuff, where all these things, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, will sort of culminate into this in a live action feature film eventually. So I think what they're doing is they're laying the seeds for the next phase of Star Wars, and I think that this has excellent potential. And I think the 2 episodes were excellent debuts, especially if you love Rebels. I loved Rebels. If you like Clone Wars, you have extra context into this story. Now, if you haven't watched those, or you haven't, who's Thrawn? Who's Ezra? What is it? I don't understand what's happening here. The show does a little bit to set it up, and who Ren is, Sabine Wren, and who Syndulla is, and who these characters are, and what they've done in the past. But I definitely think you appreciate it even more if you're a fan of Rebels and Clone Wars. So I thought it was excellent debut. We'll get into exactly why. We'll do a little episode breakdown, a spoiler section in its own section. But overall, I am very happy with the debut of these 2 episodes. and I think it's a solid start. Let's go to the boys. What did y'all think?
I think it's pretty good so far. I'm not in love with it like you are, but again, that's what the flavor text. You watch Clone Wars and Rebel.
Yeah.
But so far, I think it's still pretty good, and you got some of those characters, and they do a pretty good job of like kind of catching me up. I know like what's kind of going on.
Now, because you have not seen Rebels,
yes.
So you know no context of Ezra and Sabine.
Yeah, they kind of mentioned
and then also
a little
you
bit of
still
it,
haven't
so
seen
I
Clone
get
Wars.
it. Yes,
We don't allow here.
But at the same time, I feel like I'm a little disappointed with the plot. Kind of seeing this thing over and over. It's like, hey, we got the MacGuffin. We have to go find this person. We have to go do this. It's like, all right, we got R2-D2. We got to go find Luke and Rey, and then we got the Wayfinder point. And then we got to do this. It's like,
so
hey,
the
we
last
got this,
Disney
we
thing.
got this key here. We got the map. We got to go to this place. We got kind of like that whole plot thing is kind of wearing thin on me. But overall,
what plot would you have preferred, just for fun?
Anything else besides like, hey.
So Thrawn is already in the galaxy. He's maybe
back.
hiding.
Yes, he's back.
And
he's hiding.
Building.
We don't need a map and be like, hey, we got this MacGuffin. We got to go here. And they took the MacGuffin.
The little link between galaxies.
This
is a little bit of baggage left over from what previous series have set up, because the end of Rebels.
And like I said, I don't know what's going on with that stuff, but like just my point of view right now is like, look, I've seen this done over and over and over.
And you're like, oh, man.
Come on.
Okay, hopefully this goes somewhere new and interesting.
Yes, but so far, it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. It's way better than Boba Fett.
Yeah, okay. Alex, what are you thinking so far?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I agree that this is kind of a tired kind of thing. I like my Thrawns that don't need saving. I would like to think that I know who Thrawn is. I love those books. And I would love to think that Thrawn figured it out himself.
We don't know if he needs saving. We don't know what Thrawn is doing on the other.
Right now.
Right now.
So I'm only judging on what's happening right now. Is right now Thrawn needs saving. I saw the first season of Rebels. It is not good. It is not good television. It's not something for me. I think that
you need to stick with it.
I don't have time in my life to sit through. I do hear from you've told me that it gets good. A lot of people have said it gets good.
I'm sure people felt the same way about Clone Wars when Clone Wars started. There's a lot of filler in Clone Wars, but you stick with it. I think go through the rest of Rebels for me, Alex, please.
It's also a kids thing too, so it is like they're knocking.
That's what it is.
So I don't want to spend my free time watching a kid show where they're knocking out stormtroopers.
Would be like the New Adventures
of Young Jedi.
Jedi. Rebels is for children.
Adults can enjoy Rebels too.
I didn't say they couldn't, but it's a show.
Well, again, it's your opinion.
Yeah, it's absolutely a show that they purposely made to target at children, like Clone Wars.
Younger audiences.
Yes.
I mean, when we say children, we got broad. You got the Young Adventures of Jedi. I think Rebels was more young teen.
Yeah, they don't even kill very many people in Rebels. Like Clone Wars are killing people. And they stop. They're knocking people out. And
killing is not really a requirement in my animations for what's adult and not. But
yeah, but the Star Wars has always been about killing stormtroopers, and so for them to go hard stop not doing, I'm just trying to say that's why Rebels. That's my evidence that Rebels is for hey, we don't kill people around here. These guys are. These guys are good guys. But whatever. I only watched the first season of Rebels. I don't like Ezra. I don't think he's I didn't watch the first season and go, this is a character that I have to go save. I hear that, it's great and it gets better, but I don't have that attachment to him where, we got to go save him. It's like, I don't know. Did
anybody like Luke when he was being fucking annoying in Episode 1? Not really.
Yeah. It's true, but... Still, I didn't like what I saw. I don't see a reason where I want to go halfway across.
Yeah, so you're just saying, hey, I didn't connect with Rebels, so I'm not really into those characters.
Yeah, so I don't like Ezra. I actively dislike Ezra from what I've seen, so I don't want to save him. I mean, Sabine, they're trying to do this thing where they want to have an arc for her where she's kind of unlikable in the beginning, and then she's going to figure it out and they're going to do that thing. So it's like they got to that point after Episode 2, so it's good. But I don't know. I don't know if it was a required thing that I have to finish Rebels to fully enjoy this and love it. But I do think it's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 more seasons of Rebels and character arcs that I do think that you'd appreciate over time, but I mean, let's not talk about Rebels anymore, right? Because not everybody's going to have walked in watching all seasons of Rebels. The thing needs to work on its own, okay? So, on its own, you felt that the Sabine character was unlikable?
Oh, yeah, episode 1, absolutely.
Why? Because she's a rebel and she just doesn't want to... She's dealing with her own issues.
Well, like they're like, hey, this is a giant plot to like rescue Thrawn, and then she's like, she goes off on her own and she's doing all these things, trying to like,
dumb stuff.
she's acting. They wrote her like she's a 16-year-old girl that's like super angsty, and like I know that they're fudging with the time frame. Even his speech is like several years ago. It's like, how many years ago did they send Thrawn away? Because I don't think, do they know how long after Rebels this is?
5. I'm not 100% sure.
So like they're kind of fudging the things. It's like, how old is she? She's
It's like 15 years in real time or something.
Yeah. So like she's kind of petulant and she's like, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna steal this egg MacGuffin. I'm gonna go to my own. Even though it's like there's this whole plot to bring Thrawn back, and then they're doing it for a purpose because that's what the whole point of a character arc. But I think for me they went a little over.
I just think I upon rewatch, because I watched it twice. It she's like, I need some time to think. I have a lot more context to the Sabine character over 4 seasons, so this is somewhat in character for Sabine. But you guys don't have that context.
No,
you just boom. This what the fuck? I mean this. We have all the information. We know there are Dark Jedi out there. We know that Admiral Thrawn is out there. So why are you moving from one location to another when there could be assassins? The thing is, Sabine doesn't know that. All these other characters don't necessarily know that.
Ahsoka knows all of it.
Ahsoka knows that, but it's up to Ahsoka to say, hey, I was attacked by assassins, and at any moment we could be attacked again. But I guess they got to find some tension in the series.
It's like it works because Ahsoka purposely doesn't say that there's this whole thing to bring Thrawn back, and it's just like that. As someone who like I don't have the context, it's like that's not great. That doesn't feel good.
All right. Well, I mean, in any case, so you didn't initially like Ren, how she was acting, but what about by episode 2? Because obviously, how we see these characters at the start of a series is going to grow over time. Everybody's going to have a character arc. Me personally, I also felt Ahsoka was a little formal, was a little...
That's what I was going to ask
These are her friends. These are people she has had, dealings with before.
4 seasons.
Because I was going to ask you, is she always just stoic? Cause
no.
I don't know, because she's just like...
No, but yes, over time, because if you think about it, Joe, she's a Jedi outcast. The entire galaxy went to shit. Her master became the most evil person in the world. So she needed to kind of create this hard exterior outer shell. And you've heard her. She's basically been a nomad going across the galaxy wherever she's needed, trying to help out in small little areas. And so I think over time that's really hardened her character and made her less, chummy.
But again,
this is all perfect setup, and I'm glad you guys both feel.
But we have experience
about these
characters. Recently with her, where she was way more chummy. She was more chummy with Luke and the Mandalorian and Grogu and all these other things, and so it was kind of weird because these take place at exactly the same time.
Shit, see, that's the thing. We don't really know the time period right now.
Well, because she was in Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah. Well, that definitely, her capturing the Night Sister definitely happened, but I don't necessarily know if the Grogu thing has happened.
Well, because she did it
on.
in Mandalorian season 2. She goes and she's met Grogu and Jin and all of that stuff. That's how she was introduced. So it's like we've seen her be chummy with Luke and Grogu and all that other stuff.
Okay.
So because that's how she got the staff.
But still, upon rewatch, at first initially it felt like she was a little standoffish. But upon rewatch, it's not really the case. It is the show is positioning her more as the master, okay, and the Qui-Gon Jinn, and that is on purpose because this show ultimately is a new master apprentice setup. You even have a new evil master apprentice setup, and Sabine and Ahsoka are going to be sort of the light side foil to these two, as they get Ezra back. Search for Ezra, as not only do you open up a new world to a potential war with Thrawn coming back, but also bringing Ezra back, and then that changes the dynamic. It's like, okay, well, now what? Are we just going to throw Ezra away? Are we going to focus on Sabine Wren instead? Because Ezra is kind of the focus and focal point of Rebels, and here, as it's positioning, it seems like it's Sabine Wren is the focal point, and obviously with Ahsoka in the master role. So,
you mentioned Qui-Gon. This is another opportunity where there's no justice for that fucking man. Dude gets stabbed in the stomach, and every single person, every single fucking series, someone gets stabbed in the gut with a lightsaber, and they're fine the next day. They're like, no, I'm good. It's like, but
then
Qui-Gon.
but without getting into spoilers in this particular section, I feel like they put this in the show just to kind of address the fact that people are getting stabbed all the time and kind of address, can you survive this kind of thing? I almost feel like it was a reaction to all the Star Wars fans doing it. We'll get to it in spoilers.
I blame Obi-Wan for not calling paramedics as soon as possible. He just let him die.
So we've got, I think, who they are, this mystery around these Dark Jedi, this interesting thing where it's like some of the first times we're ever hearing a whole new galaxy. Like, this is really some interesting stuff here. They're talking about who built this stuff. Not Jedi. Jedi didn't build this. Sith didn't build this. These are things from another galaxy. And they're talking about something called the Pathway to Peridia, which was spoken in the halls of the Jedi Temple as a legend amongst the children, and a pathway to a different galaxy. I was always saying Star Wars is a galaxy far, far away. Well, apparently Star Wars, so it's a galaxy, and then now there's another potential galaxy that has something to do. Right. Could this be? This has so much fucking potential. Could this be the way they bring in the Vong? What's the? Oh shit! What's the? I'm drawing a blank on the expanded universe. So eventually, a new species comes in and becomes the big bad guys. This has potential to do anything. Is this tying in with the Night Sisters' magic? Right? Because the Night Sisters. The way they explain it in Star Wars lore, they're witches, right? And they have powers, and it's like, well, what is that? I don't understand that. Is that the Force? And they kind of wiped it away. They said, yeah, it's a branch of the Force, but maybe they could do something like it's like, well, maybe their shit comes from a different galaxy, and they learned from a different galaxy. I'm just trying to figure out how this Night Sister kind of ties in here, because it seems like the Night Sisters, as they go to a Night Sister temple, knows about this other galaxy, knows about this kind of stuff. And what has Thrawn been doing in this other one? What has Ezra been doing? Is Ezra even alive? Is he dead? Is he, are they? That would really piss me off and piss a lot of Rebels fans and a lot of Star Wars fans off, that it's like, nah, Ezra's dead. Don't worry about him. We're going to go with Sabine Wren now. She's like going to be the Ezra. And it's like, oh, all right. I don't think that's the case. It feels like there's an impending reunion coming. We got a lot of murals that look straight out of Star Wars Rebels animated series. We know the crew is out, doing various things.
Well, to talk about spoilers, I have a question I want to ask you. I don't forget, because I don't think they're gonna even get to that point.
What is the question about?
Whether or not they actually can even get to where they're going to go. What we know about what happens, we know what happens in the sequel trilogy, and so it's like,
yeah, and we know Zeb's alive. We've seen him in what did we just watch? The Mandalorian, right? Where he's just in a bar. He's one of the rebel pilots, so we know he's in the New Republic somewhere. Anyways, strong start. We got a mystery. Dave Filoni is back in charge, writing. Dave has had some hits. He's had some misses. I think he's had more hits than misses, and I think this is another hit. And what I'd like for this to do is maintain this current quality, and let's go up from here, and let's make Star Wars exciting again. Joe wants to see something new. Show Joe something new. I don't think that's really the case, so as long as it's done well enough, because let's say it is Thrawn coming back and he galvanizes the Imperial remnant, and there's another smaller scale war against, the rebels or not the rebels, the Republic and the Imperial remnant. Is that really new? No. That's it's not new, but you could still make it exciting. I mean, the novels were good enough in the Thrawn novels that while we are rehashing the fact that there's evil versus good and they're doing star battles, it's still somewhat interesting. And so that's what we can ask for. So yeah, let's go ahead and so. Should give a rating to just the debut, or have we done that in the past? Do y'all remember what the fuck we did?
We should do it by episode, I think.
Yeah, episode.
And we'll do it by episode. Okay, then stick. We liked it. It sounds like we liked it. Sounds like I like it a little bit more than the boys. Stick around if you want individual ratings in the episodes. So that's our opinion. We're gonna jump into the episode breakdown now.